In this video, we're going to discuss the top 11 ways to lower your car insurance and what you can do immediately to lower your costs. Yes, we are going to be discussing in number 5, the discounts that you can apply to your car insurance. And for those of you that do want to stay till the end of the video, I'm going to go give you an added bonus, and I'm going to go through the top 15 discounts that you can save extra money through your car insurance. Please smash the thumbs up. If you guys get really good value out of this, definitely share it with a friend that you think could use the advice that I'm giving today. The whole goal of this channel is to make you smarter about your car insurance so you can make more informed decisions, get better coverages, but ultimately save money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my notes here that I've written. I've got 3 pages of notes to give you guys the best advice. We're going to try to cram it all in about 10 minutes, so grab a pen and paper if you're writing this down. Don't worry if you don't get all this information, you can always rewatch the video, and then I will also post my notes on my blog. So number 1 is don't assume that any one company is the cheapest. And what I mean by that is for drivers with good credit, the difference between the worst and the best insurance is about $100 a month. A driver with poor credit, same thing, it's even more. So it can make a difference between the best and worst person paying for that coverage with that company can be $200 a month. Don't assume Progressive is the cheapest, because in your situations, they might be the cheapest, but for someone that has perfect credit and has a house and all that other stuff, they may be $200 more a month for that situation. So it's very situational. And that doesn't change from state to state either. What I mean is the difference of the company that might be the cheapest in Michigan may be the highest in Florida. Don't just base it on one specific company. Tip number 2 is don't ignore your local or regional insurance companies. I'm a perfect example of this. I actually work for a local company. We're considered, if you were to look us up, you would find us as local, but we work with 21 some odd states. We sell 17 different companies up to 21 states. That's a small company with a huge reach. Whatever your situation is, don't just rely on Allstate or State Farm, where they can only sell you Allstate or State Farm for those same reasons. They might be cheap in one area, but not in the other. It's always good to talk to a local agent that can look at multiple companies for you and determine what's the best fit. Number 3, your credit. It plays a very, very large factor. There are states like Hawaii, California, Massachusetts, they don't allow you to charge different for credit, but in the majority of things, they've been able to articulate that credit does play a factor on claims and history. That's one of the things you need to improve. Ways to do that: make your loan payments on time, keep credit card balances low or near half limit. My dad actually was a CPA, so I kind of grew up in the credit world. Having credit cards that are close to that half limit or lower, personal opinion, don't use them at all. It'll hurt your credit, but it's still worth it in the end. I'd rather save the money than pay the interest. Don't use credit checks or loans to open accounts. Limit the amount of credit you have available. Those are just some of the ways that you can improve your credit score, which improves what's called an insurance score, which is kind of a fancy word for credit. Tip number 4, consider insurance cost when you're purchasing a vehicle. That's the number 1 thing I see people miss when they're purchasing a vehicle. They never think, how much is the insurance going to be on this? I've had people actually have to return the car because of the cost of the insurance was as much as the car loan, and they just couldn't afford it. So make sure that you get the difference in price. The Volkswagens versus the Infinitis is a big price difference. A station wagon or a van, which is considered a station wagon, is different than driving an Acura, which is considered a performance car. When you're looking at the car, grab a couple VINs. That's the best way to do it. Call your insurance agent and have them plug it into their system and give you an idea of what price difference you're going to be looking at in your car insurance. It can be $100 a month more for just a different car. Make sure you're mindful of that. Tip number 5, check for discounts. If you can qualify for a homeownership discount, which most states allow, if you're married, you usually get a better price. If you don't have kids, you're getting a little bit better, you're not getting charged more. If you have multiple cars, you can do multiple car discounts. If you're going under your parents, if you're young, there's a lot of different discounts that you can qualify for, even being part of credit unions and banks and ARP and all those different things that you can apply for. There are tons of discounts. Now remember, at the end of the video, I am going to go through and I'm going to list the top 15 discounts. Also, if you are interested, I did do a video somewhere up here, I'll link it, that does go over the top 10 or 15 discounts in car insurance as well. Number 6, if you have a clunker car, it might not be worth it to have comp and collision on that. That's comprehensive and collision. The calculation I personally came up with is figure 4 years. If you add up the costs that you're paying, if you look at your policy, it'll say comprehensive, there will be a price that you're paying. It'll say collision, there will be a price that you're paying. Now what you do is you add those up, multiply that by 4, so 4 years, let's just assume we have no claims, no tickets, no accidents, no nothing, right? And we paid that amount for 4 years, assuming the price never changed. Is that worth more or less than the value of your car? If your car is worth less than that, then it's probably a good idea to remove that coverage altogether. And that leads into tip number 7, and that's raise your deductibles. If you are paying too much and the price is just getting outrageous, it may be worth it to put a higher deductible to your policy. If you look at that same line where you're looking at how much you're paying for comprehensive and collision, what would it be if you did a $500, $1,000, or a $1,500 deductible? If you have a really high-end car, you can go $2,500 if you want, but typically it doesn't make a big price difference past that $1,000 or $1,500 mark. If it does make sense, make sure that you put enough money away. So if I have a $1,000 deductible, set up a savings account, try to get $1,000 in there. Maybe you pay $20 a month, $100 a month, whatever it takes, but try to get that $1,000 in that account. That way, in the case of an emergency, you're not going to have to come out of pocket. It's already saved up and it's ready to go. And then you just continuously save that extra cost that you were paying in your insurance every year. Tip number 8, consider usage-based insurance. This is very good for those that don't drive a lot. There's a video I did on Root Insurance. They are usage-based insurance. They don't do them in all the states, but there's also companies like AAA. They offer discounts for lower mileage, not using the car as much. They offer a AAA drive. Progressive offers Snapshot. Safeco or Citizens offers their system that you can get a discount. It's 10 to 25% off if you can prove that you're a good driver. They are going to track your driving. Most of them don't share your information. I don't think any of them do, although that's the fear that everybody has. But you could ask. They have to disclose that stuff. If they get caught, they are going to lose a lot of money if they're disclosing that information. You got to trust them at some point. Tip number 9. Tip number 9. So location, where you live makes a difference. If you are moving, you want to make sure that you call your insurance company and see what the prices are. I've had a situation where I had a person move, we changed the address in their system, and they're now paying $10 to $20 a month more. They weren't too happy, but you can't control that. What they do is each company rates a location, and they take all the insureds that they have in that location, and they calculate what's the cost or what's the average of somebody having a claim there. Tip number 10, driving records, driving history. Oh my goodness, I feel sorry. You can't control them all. So there are states that count not at fault claims against you. Most states, or a lot of states, count partial claim. So if you're 50% at fault and 50% not at fault, your insurance is going to pay part of that and you will have a rate increase. Now, what you want to do is make sure that you're not just filing claims to file claims. Because if you file a claim, that's putting you in a different pool, so to speak, or a different risk. Sometimes, if you have a chip on the windshield and it's only $20, $25 to get it repaired, it might be worth it to out-pocket that cost if your state charges comprehensive claims against you. Well, Mark, what the crap do I buy insurance for? That's the reason. It is, but it's a pool of people. Everybody's sharing the risk. When you have that claim, that at-fault accident, and boom, it pops you up. And so now you're a higher risk in this pool of people. So the price that you pay is going to be contributed to the amount of risk that you're adding to the group. Tip number 11 is going to be the amount you pay. So if you pay more up front, and I'll explain what I mean, you're going to get a better deal. If you pay monthly, that's fine. If you're on a credit card, you're going to pay a fee. If you're on an EFT, electronic funds transfer, comes right out of your savings or your checking account, they're usually going to waive that fee. If you pay quarterly, not all, but a lot of companies will give you a discount. If you pay every 6 months, it's less. If you pay every year, it's even less. I've got a company that I work with that knocks off almost $200, $300. I've seen them knock off close to $400 a year if they're willing to just pay the whole thing in full. It's kind of like investing. So instead of you getting money back from the stock market, you're just not paying more for the insurance. When you're paying monthly, you're paying an extra cost. There's fees involved with that. Congratulations, you guys made it to the end. We are gonna go through the 15 discounts right now. Do me a favor, if you haven't liked the video, like it, subscribe. So we've already gone over the top 11 discounts, and we're gonna add the additional ones onto this. The other discounts that we're missing is group discounts. Like I mentioned earlier, are you part of a credit union? The biggest one is, are you part of the military, or have you been part of the military? That's huge. Are you a engineer? Engineers get big discounts. Teachers get big discounts. If you don't talk to your insurance person about that, make sure you do now. Have you graduated college? Alumni, they usually get a discount. Are you part of a motorcycle club? Any club that you're part of, look at. ARP is one of those discounts. If you're 50 or older, you can get a discount with many different companies. I know Nationwide gives a huge discount for it. Liberty Mutual gives discounts for different things, and there's just tons of them. So it's just what you're attached to. Take a defensive driving course. Check with your agent, make sure they offer this, but most states offer a discount for taking a defensive driving course. It's usually an online course, so you don't have to do much for it. Pay in full, we mentioned that earlier. Security system, having an alarm system, there's a couple versions, will give you a discount on that as well. Not just a security alarm system, but also having a anti-theft, but a vehicle recovery system. You can track the car, where did it go? Your occupation actually plays a part in most insurance companies. Whether you're a construction worker or a businessman at a bank. One thing you want to think of is there's other words you can use. When I used to work at a large company, it was just mind-boggling. If you were a professor versus a teacher, the professor was like 10% higher than the teacher. I don't get it, because you can call yourself a teacher as a professor. So kind of play with the thoughts of that. Maybe I'll do a video on what gives you the best discounts for those. Anyways, guys, I hope this was helpful. Share it with anyone that you think can get good advice out of this. Definitely like it, share, subscribe, all that stuff. I will see you in the next one.